It starts with a dream, a turquoise ocean, a luxury safari, a birthday turned engagement. For 145,000 followers, Ashlee Jenae was the blueprint for the soft life. She was the image of success, radiance, and newly discovered love. But 4 days later, she was dead. And the man who had just promised her forever told authorities she had done it to herself. But the evidence tells a different story. True crime isn't about the photos that make it to the grid. It's about the silence that follows. What you are about to hear is not a story about a tragic accident in a foreign land. It's a story about a woman whose sweet sanctuary became a crime scene. A woman whose family was told she was stable, while her body was already laying in a morgue thousands of miles away. This is the masked reality of Ashlee Jenae. April 2026, Zanzibar, Tanzania. Ashley Robinson, known online as Ashlee Jenae, arrived in paradise to celebrate her 31st birthday and a fresh engagement to crypto founder Joe McCann. She posted photos feeding giraffes with captions like, Chapter 31, and I'm exactly where I need to be. To anyone scrolling on her page, it looked like the peak of happiness. Luxury villas, ocean views, designer outfits, engagement photos, the kind of life social media trains people to envy. But behind the aesthetic, something was already unraveling. 4 days later, the dream ended in blood, confusion, and unanswered questions. The official story? Suicide. But almost immediately, the details stopped making sense. Because before the safari, before the villas, before the engagement ring, there was the relationship. And to understand Ashlee's death, you have to understand the man she was with. Pause. If you're liking this content so far, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get back into it. Joe McCann, founder of Asymmetrical Financial, represented everything the influencer lifestyle promised: wealth, status, luxury, stability. But stability can be a performance. Reports later surfaced describing an 18-month relationship filled with volatility. Witnesses allegedly described explosive arguments in luxury hotels that were serious enough to require police intervention, long before the couple ever arrived in Africa. And that changes everything. Because suddenly, this wasn't a perfect couple. It was a relationship people had already seen crack behind closed doors. Witnesses described a cycle: extreme affection, followed by controlling behavior, followed by emotional explosions. In the world of masked reality, this is what I call the gold-plated trap. A relationship that looks safe from the outside, but feels dangerous once the doors close. By the time they landed in Tanzania, that trap was beginning to collapse. April 8th, 2026, the mask of the dream vacation shattered publicly for the first time. The setting was the Zuri Zanzibar Resort, an ultra-luxury destination where rooms cost thousands per night. But according to witnesses, the tropical peace of the island was interrupted by a violent argument so loud that resort staff had to step in. Not guests, staff. That detail matters. Hotel management reportedly made a decision that says everything about the state of that relationship. They separated the couple for their safety. Ashlee remained in the main villa. Joe was moved to another room 10 minutes away. Pause. Let's think about that. This wasn't a minor disagreement. This was serious enough for resort staff to physically separate them in a foreign country. Ashlee was now isolated, thousands of miles away from home, away from friends, away from family. And according to her mother, Yolanda Denise Indres, Ashlee called her that night after the fight. Something was wrong, very wrong. April 9th, 2026, Ashlee Jenae was found unresponsive inside of her villa. The initial explanation from authorities was suicide by hanging. According to reports, Joe claimed he found her inside a bedroom closet. But true crime lives in timelines, and this timeline doesn't sit right. Joe McCann reportedly discovered Ashlee early that morning, but he didn't immediately call her mother. He didn't immediately notify her family. Hours passed, then more hours passed. 11 hours. How do you wait nearly half a day to call the mother of the woman you were supposed to marry? When Yolanda finally received the call, Joe reportedly told her Ashlee had done something to herself and was being taken to the hospital. But then he casually revealed something chilling. It had happened 11 hours earlier.
He told me that Ashlee did something to herself and that she was being taken to the hospital. I said, what happened when? And he told me it had been 11 hours prior.
While Ashlee's family believed she was alive, the reality may have already been very different. And according to Yolanda, Joe told her Ashlee was okay and stable, but she wasn't. Her mother's voice cracks in interviews every time she says she was supposed to be happy, and then she's just gone. This is where the story changes completely, because while early reports reference hanging, medical findings reportedly pointed investigators somewhere else entirely. A local medical report allegedly listed cerebral hypoxia caused by strangulation and suffocation, not just hanging, strangulation. That distinction matters a lot. A hospital report also allegedly documented marks around Ashlee's neck. And even more unsettling, the original doctor's notes regarding the hanging narrative reportedly included multiple question marks beside the explanation. Question marks. As if even the people documenting the case weren't fully convinced. And while Ashlee's family was being told she was stable, Ashlee was already gone. Yolanda has remained firm in interviews. She would never do anything to harm herself. And the deeper investigators looked into the timeline, the harder it became for the narrative to hold together. Because if Ashlee was strangled, then this was never suicide. And in every masked reality, you follow the money. Joe McCann wasn't just a crypto founder. He was reportedly a man dealing with massive financial pressure. Reports surfaced claiming his asymmetric liquid alpha fund had recently collapsed after severe losses. For a man whose public image was built around success and control, that kind of collapse can become personal. Witnesses allegedly described him as visibly affected. Then came another disturbing layer. Reports of a high-value life insurance policy tied to accidental death while traveling. These remain allegations only. Joe McCann has not been charged with a crime, but the timing, the pressure, the inconsistencies, they force difficult questions. Was Ashlee becoming part of a financial crisis she didn't even know existed? Was the perfect provider image beginning to crack behind the scenes? Because sometimes when the money disappears, the mask disappears with it. Today, Ashlee's family is still searching for answers. Her body was eventually returned home to New Jersey, but according to her family, many of her personal belongings never came back. Her phone was missing, her designer items were gone, and perhaps most haunting of all, the engagement ring had disappeared too. The same ring that symbolized the dream life was suddenly nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Joe McCann recently broke his silence on May 6, releasing a statement calling the situation an incomprehensible tragedy and describing Ashlee as his best friend, but her family isn't buying the script. Ashlee was laid to rest this week in New Jersey. Joe was not invited and remains entirely cut off. Tanzanian authorities have reportedly withheld his passport while the investigation continues. And Ashlee's parents are demanding an independent autopsy on American soil because they refuse to let the story disappear quietly. Yolanda's words still echo louder than anything else in this case. She was loved. She will not be discarded and forgotten. Ashlee Jenae was 31 years old. She was radiant, successful, in love, exactly where she believed she needed to be. And then inside a luxury villa thousands of miles from home, everything went silent. Sometimes danger doesn't come from strangers hiding in the dark. Sometimes it's the person standing beside you in the vacation photos. The mask of the dream vacation has fallen, and what's left behind is a growing list of questions no one can ignore. As independent autopsy results loom, one question still remains. What really happened to Ashlee Jenae? The grid is never the whole story, and may Ashlee Jenae continue to rest in peace. Stay safe.